Testing, testing, one, two, three. Can you guys hear me? I'm gonna wait for people to come in. I hope you guys can hear me. Testing, one, two, three, testing. Hey, Pretty Girl Club, if you guys can hear me, please let me know. I'm gonna wait for some people to come in. Well, actually, I don't know if I'm gonna. Oh, crap. Wait. Hello? It was like echoing. Okay, I see some people. I see somebody commenting. Estelle972 says, "Hey, hello, girl. Yes. Hey, hi, bestie. Oh my gosh, hold on. My water bottle just fell. Okay, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? If I'm breathing really hard in the mic, I'm sorry. I just took my allergy pill, so I might sound a little bit like stuffy. I'm going to try to stay on here as long as I can. Normally with lives, I can only stay on for like an hour because I like forget what to talk about or like I run out of stuff. Or I like have to go to the bathroom. I still don't understand how other creators can live stream for like 2 hours. I'm like, how are you live streaming for that long? Do you not have to pee? Do you not have to eat food? Like, are you a vampire? Are you a zombie? How are you streaming for that long? Um, Hold on, let me just turn on the heater really quick. Okay. This person says, "Yep, you're good. We can hear you. I never caught a live before." I know I haven't been live. It said that the last time I was live was in like July. So I'm glad to be live again. I really missed you guys. I just feel like I haven't talked to you guys in forever. Um, I just feel like the last few months, I was telling everybody in the Patreon, by the way, be sure to join the Patreon. That's where I'm like the most consistent. But I was telling the pretty girls in the Patreon about how I'm glad that I even got to upload at all on here because I've been really busy ever since like about August. But let me see what some of the pretty girls are saying. Oh, and by the way, wait, how do I do the mods? I don't remember how to make you guys mods. Hold on. Oh, here we go. I think I just added someone as a moderator. Um, but yeah, I want to have mods just in case. Just in case some people who are not members of the Pretty Girl Club, just in case the Ugly Girl Club tries to troll on this stream. I like doing pop-up streams because then nobody can like sabotage it. Um, okay, but this person says, "Can you save the live stream? I need to get to bed." Yeah, this will be up on my YouTube channel, depending on what the talking points are, depending on what we talk about here in the Exoticals United community. Shira's Disciple says the title is so juicy. Yeah, there's so much that you guys have been commenting on recently. And there's so much that you guys want me to cover. I'm like, okay, I don't really feel like making that many videos and trying to edit all that shit. So we can talk a little bit about it today. So um I don't know if you guys saw with Nick Olandria. Nick was spotted out at a club. I think it was in Vegas, and there was like a bottle girl standing in front of him while he was like sitting on the chair, like straddling. If I knew how to do the screen share thing, I would, but like I don't feel like learning it. Um, but yeah, be sure to look that up because I noticed that the black community, the black female community who is living vicariously through Olandria, they were like, "Oh, well, him going to the club, that's not cheating and that's not a big deal." Okay. So when you were with a guy who was black and he went to the club and was hanging out with bottle girls, you said that's dusty, right? So why is it suddenly okay? Because Nick did it. And remember, I predicted this because I talked about how Nick is poly. He is not monogamous. He's polyamorous. And also, it made sense with how he was acting on the show. I already didn't like Nick based on how he treated Bella. So Bella been exposed his ass. But I want to talk about this whole topic of bad dating tactics, Blackistan dating tactics. If there's one community that you do not want to take advice from when it comes to dating. Like, seriously, let's talk about this for a second. Which community has the most toxic dating culture that you've ever seen in your life? Which ethnicity? So, why would I suddenly turn around and be convinced that all these rich billionaire white men, they just prefer to date within the black community? And no, they don't prefer like MLS women. Of course, they prefer the darkest, blackest, most Afrocentric women on this earth. Now, if that's not a coping mechanism, I don't know what is. Her soft power says, "Hey, pretty girls." By the way, if I'm not caught up with the comments, I'm sorry. Estelle says the parasocial relationships are way too intense. Yeah, I wanted to talk about limerence because I've noticed a lot of women in the black community do struggle with limerence. I think part of this has to do with upbringing as well, though, because imagine if you're raised by maybe like a single struggling black mother that's in survival mode, and maybe you grew up hearing your mother kind of fantasize over men or like have an obsession with men or kind of daydreaming about men. I also know that like in the black community, I think it's called urban. Is it called urban romance or like, those like smut books, like those sex books that they read like in the black community? Well, do they even? Well, I don't want to say they don't read in the black community because they definitely do. But yeah, I've just noticed also this obsession that the black culture has with dating, just in general. I mean, think about it. Some of the biggest dating and relationship content creators are black. Coach Anwar is black. Kevin Samuels, black. And they're even trying to make Shira Seven into a dating coach. She's multiracial. If you look at, I can't remember her name right now. She's a black woman that talks about leveling up. She has women call into her live stream, and then all the women in the comments like drag that woman's appearance, and then they tell her to like get a classy dress. Ashley Dalton, that was her name. She's another one. So it's like, why is the dating and relationship niche on YouTube largely dominated by people of black descent? And I feel like a lot of it has to do with codependency, being in survival mode, coming from broken homes. It's almost like there's this fantasy of living happily ever after. And by the way, with the Danish deception girl, she's Nigerian. So, well, I think she's Nigerian or some sort of African. And I saw her clips from The Bachelor, and her dad was on there talking about how him and his wife got married after 2 weeks. Okay, so just because you come from a two-parent home, that does not mean that your parents automatically have like a healthy marriage. That's not what that means. So that was a red flag. I just feel like that sort of dynamic, it definitely opens you up to love bombing. The Danish deception girl, she definitely went through love bombing. And also, anytime a man starts changing his job, like every 5 minutes, because I only watched like the first 15 minutes of it, and then I just made an episode today that's going to come out probably at like 9 p.m. But it's like, okay, so you're telling me you work in tech and real estate. Suddenly he works in tech and real estate. Oh, wait, but he's also an Olympian. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. That's an immediate red flag. So the fact that you just believe everything, that's another thing. A lot of women, they just believe everything the white man has to say. Rosaline 1700 says she is Nigerian. Yeah. Alexa plays Slim Pickens by Sabrina Carpenter. Is that the song you're talking about? I like Sabrina Carpenter. Yay, somebody subscribed to the Patreon. Be sure to subscribe to the Patreon, Pretty Girl Club. So if you go on there, that's where I make custom content. So you guys can comment in the Patreon. You guys can ask different questions and stuff. And I will do, usually it's about a 40-minute episode just based on your question. We do a lot of psychoanalysis in there. I have done social experiments in there. So I don't know. My favorite social experiments that I did in the Patreon was when I was watching the unambiguous black community and their dating habits. I did a people watching like study, like in my real life, where I watched over 10,000 unambiguous black people. I think it was 10,000, somewhere around 10,000, just so we could like examine their dating patterns in real time, so we could get a gauge on, okay, are interracial couples really that common? Like, are unambiguous women really dating white men as commonly as what they say online? And then of course we discovered that no, usually unambiguous people are still dating unambiguous people. They're just talking a big talk. out here on the internet streets. Okay, let me look at some of these comments. Rosaline says the fact she kept giving him money. Exactly. And that's how I know, like, sometimes I think when you're upwardly mobile, like maybe if you came from a family that immigrated from somewhere else, I think sometimes people, they just want to be generous or they want to show love, but it almost comes off like you're buying love. And we've seen that trend online where a lot of people are saying a lot of women in the black community, they're paying for dates and stuff when the guy is white, and they're paying so they can keep up this image. And I just found out that apparently she was trying to be a travel influencer or something. So we all know that black women are not going to follow you if you don't have like a white boyfriend. They're not going to put you on as much of a pedestal. So having a white boyfriend, that's what really makes your content pop. We all know that when it comes to the black female community, you're nothing unless you were dating a white man. So I can see why she was so desperate to have him as a status symbol. She probably wanted to include him in her content. Honeydew Drop says, I'm already subscribed, but I have a lot of videos to catch up on. Yeah, I'm always making content in there, so you guys should definitely join the Patreon. So the Patreon is audios and the members page is videos. So I upload the most on the Patreon because it's easy. It doesn't require a lot of editing. Grace Life Exotical says, hey, Pretty Girl Club. Hey, pretty girls. Rosalind says, that is what throws me off the most. Like, ew. Being conned out of $300K is nasty work. That's money for a house, pay off student loans, shaking my head. Yeah, and like I said, I've only watched 15 minutes of it so far, so I'm trying to analyze it in real time and see if I can predict any of the outcomes. So far, turns out I was able to predict some of the outcomes because I said in the first video, you guys are going to see it. I was talking about how her father, I was questioning her father just based on how she was acting. I was like, wait a minute, where's her dad at? Because if I were to be solo traveling and I'm getting drunk with a stranger and I'm in another country, because this girl said, oh, I'm really close with my parents. Okay, I'm really close with my parents. So if I were to be texting my mom and dad in the group chat, like, oh, hey, I'm just in another country drunk with this random man, my parents would immediately be concerned. They would immediately be like, wait, what? Like, where are you? Like, what's your location? Who is this guy? Send us a picture. What's the address? Where are you going to be at? So the fact that her parents didn't stop her or like they didn't express any concern about their daughter's behavior, that was a huge red flag. Rosaline says, OMG, so true. They are defending Olandria to the death. And I don't know what they're trying to defend. I don't know what the hell they're trying to defend because there is nothing there. Nick doesn't even show Olandria affection unless he is being paid. Also, let's just talk about what's happened with Nick Olandria in the past month. So in the past month, you had Nick Olandria in a photo with another guy. Now you had Olandria in a photo with another guy. Now you've got Nick in a photo with another girl. So does that even look like a healthy relationship? I'm just talking about in terms of just pure optics. In terms of optics, in terms of wanting to promote your love and, like Olandria was basically talking about how she's like saving the world and like she's doing it big for black women by being in this relationship. Okay, so do you think that you being pictured with another man and him being with another woman, do you think that that's healthy? No. So it's like no matter which way you spin it, even if they were still together, whatever that means, even if they were still together, that still looks bad. Also, why can't they call each other boyfriend, girlfriend? Because I've seen where people are like, oh, well, in the white community, you call people your partner. They call each other partner. Okay, well, I grew up in a white community, so I can tell you my experience with white men that I've seen calling women their partners, or same with white women calling men their partner. Usually, if they're calling them a partner, it's a casual friends with benefits relationship, or they are poly. Like, it just basically means like sex partner or like friends with benefits. So that's not the flex you think it is. If a random white man is refusing you to call, or if he's refusing to call you his girlfriend, and instead he's calling you a partner, that's sketch. That's sketchy. And also, why not explain it? So, like in the case of Nick, with him being pictured with some random girl at the club, If he truly loves Olandria and doesn't want to embarrass her publicly, like he already has, if he wants to fix it, he would immediately post and be like, oh, hey guys, my bad. Olandria was there with me. Or I don't know. He would just try to help it out somehow. He would try to explain it somehow. But notice how Olandria seems to always be the one doing more explaining. She reminds me of, remember the girl from, I think it was Love is Blind, where she was with Liler? I don't know if you guys saw that. Was it Love is Blind? It's one of those love shows. She was with Liler. And then the woman, she was always going on podcasts trying to explain away his behavior. Meanwhile, he was just out cheating. Rosaline says, I'll be doing a video on this soon as well. It's despicable because also the contempt some unambiguous women have with unambiguous men and wouldn't do that for their own men is crazy work. Yeah, and I've noticed there's this obsession with who we date. There's an obsession with who exoticals date. There's an obsession with us going through breakups, or if we quote unquote date a Dusty. There's an obsession with us. They want to constantly call us out. They're obsessing over Janae Aiko right now. But then there's no accountability for themselves. Not to mention the fact that most of them will never have the dating options that Olandria has anyway, because a lot of them don't have the body type of Olandria. The Resilient Alchemist says, it's upsetting how she freely gave her money. I could never. Yeah, I mean, that's what people do when they're super desperate. Caramel says, I love you. Ha, I was in crisis life when I saw you jumped here. And is Chrissy live? Is that what you mean to say? That's funny. Well, yeah, I just randomly decided to go live. Honeydew Drop says, I don't think Nick wants Olandria like that. He is like an accessory to her. Olandria is the star, and Nick is the supporting character. Yeah, Nick definitely gives background surfer bum. That's the vibe he gives. But let me take out my notes here because I had some notes on what I was going to talk about. Caramel says, those divestors always fail. Yeah, if you have to call yourself a divester, like if you're truly divested from something, you don't have to announce that you are divested. You don't have to announce it. In fact, people who are truly multicultural, like if you're monoracially black and multicultural, you wouldn't even have a problem with the exotical space because you wouldn't be so heavily identified in the black community. Sarah says, Exoticals, babe, when is the latest installment in the Beluga series? It's in the editing queue. I just haven't edited the video yet. The Resilient Alchemist says, I believe Nick and Olandria is a PR couple. Yeah. And it's PR. It's more PR for Nick versus Olandria. Also, I saw that Nick, he like ran a marathon or something. Okay. So if you're over here training for marathons, you don't even have time. Do you know how many hours it takes and how many miles you have to run to train for a freaking marathon? You don't even have time for your girlfriend. Unless she's doing it with you. The Resilient Alchemist says, I remember Liler. Yeah. Yeah, that was an L. That was an L for the MLS community. I just want to say that. Cream Bouquet says, yeah, I think they both know they can make more money together than separate. And I feel like that shows an inferiority complex on both sides then. And that's codependency. It's like, why do I need this random white bum in order to make money? Why can't I just believe in myself? I thought my melanin was popping. I thought I had the black girl magic. I thought I was a Nubian queen. So which one is it? Meta Trinity says, I feel like I'm in a secret meeting. Yes, this is a secret society of pretty girls. Okay, if anyone in real life asks you about Exoticals United, just say you don't know what it is. Just lie. Just pretend like you don't watch this channel. Let me look at some of these other comments here. Hey, Slee Bryant 1. Caramel says, sorry, I am from Saudi Arabia, so my English is poor, still learning. Okay, that's awesome. Oh, and I also wanted to talk about Kenya. So I don't know if you guys saw that. She was the girl from America's Next Top Model, like way back in the day. She is an unambiguous dark-skinned black woman. And she was on a live stream with some famous streamer. You know how they have like streamers university and all that. So Kenya, she tried to get this man to kiss her. She was like, "Oh, can you give me a little smooch? Like give me a little kiss on the cheek." And remember, this man is a stranger. And the man rejected her, and apparently she is now threatening to sue him. So imagine being so upset that this man didn't want to kiss you that now you threaten to sue him. Also, Kenya, she was the one on America's Next Top Model that got sexually harassed when she was on the show. So to go from being harassed by unambiguous black men to now yourself becoming the harasser to these other types of men, that's crazy work. And I just feel like a lot of women in the black community will not admit that they have a femcel mindset. It's a femcel mindset. And a lot of them have limerence over whiteness. They have limerence over white men. Or I feel like some of them are pick-me's. Maybe they're not pick-me's for like black men, but they're pick-me's for white men. They're pick-me's for Danish men. Shira's disciple says, I remember her. She has the Fanita spirit. The Fanita spirit is crazy. That is so true. The resilient alchemist says to sue after rejection. And by the way, if there's anything else you guys want me to talk about on this live stream, you can comment right now, because this live stream is going to help me so that I don't have to create as many videos, because I am backed up. And don't worry, the Storytime series is not going anywhere. I'm going to keep making those. But yeah, I've just noticed this obsession. Oh, and some of you guys were also asking about MLS male content creators. Some of you guys were asking about them in the Discord. If you join the Patreon or the members page, you'll have access to the Discord. I do not know of any MLS male creators that support the exotical space, to be honest, because I do make a lot of decentering men content on this channel. And that's because the point of the decentering men content, it's to help you take men off the pedestal. That's really the whole point. And also, I feel like a lot of people, they discount our talking points by making it about men. The whole colorism sector is really about the male gaze. And so part of the benefit of making decentering men content is we're able to take the male gaze out of the conversation, and then they have no choice but to actually address our talking points. Susanna Flores says, love the EU space. Exotical tax. Meta Trinity says, what lawyer would take such a case? Yeah, exactly. That was just some BS. This person says it was Plaque Boy Max Twitch live stream. Yeah, so whoever that guy is, Plaque Boy Max. I don't really watch streamers. The only streamers I know about are like DDG, Kai Sanat, and I think that's about it. Carmela Caramel says, I always love it too when you make social climbing Pretty Girl University, please. Yes, the majority of that content is in the Patreon. Because that's a little too good for YouTube. If everybody does it, like if everybody knows the same strategies, then it's no longer a strategy. You know, that's why you got men like the Danish deception guy. That's why they're able to get away with that shit. It's because they know that a lot of black women are watching content that is pedestalizing their exact phenotype. And it's exotifying them. That white man, he was using exotic privilege to his advantage because he knows that women of color fetishize and worship white males. So he already knew that he would have the power. Catalily Converter says, could you talk about the hate Huda received after that phone call? Yeah, so I heard about how I guess somebody called and they said the N-word or something, or I don't remember if they were talking about Olandria or if they said the N-word and Huda just awkwardly laughed. And then people are saying she's racist. Well, guess what? Do you know who one of Huda's closest friends was in the villa? Nick. So it's interesting how Huda herself is the racist, but then nobody calls out Nick for supporting Huda, who is supposed to be racist. So it's like, which one is it? Also, why are we even supporting Love Island as a whole? I thought that reality TV shows in general were racist against black women. So these women shouldn't even know who Huda is. The fact that they know who Huda is shows that they're not actually serious about ending racism because they watch racist shows like Love Island. Hold on, let me plug in my laptop charger. But yeah, that was some bullshit. Um Also, my question is, okay, is it once a racist, always a racist? And I don't think Huda said the N-word. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure it was just someone on the phone that said the N-word. It's like, okay, so if you hang out with people who say the N-word, are you racist? Because if so, then Nick is racist because there's a TikTok of Nick hanging out with people saying the N-word and Nick saying it himself. So anything that people are accusing Huda of doing, Nick has done the exact same thing. He just didn't do it while he was on Love Island. BN Hidden says, my evil ex assistant is trying to blackmail and dox me and tell people that I don't pay because she is jealous of an exotical and she knows my dad just died. She's literally crazy. I'm so sorry. And I'm also not surprised. I hope you sue her ass or report her. You can report people for like doxing and stuff. You can actually report people to the police. Even if they are not successful at doxing you, you can report people to the police. You can file complaints and stuff. So I hope you do that. I have definitely done that. Kristen 5125 says, now I want to know what is your thoughts on Brene and Akira? Brene basically tried to destiny swap with Akira. I don't know who those people are, but if you email me at exoticalsunited@gmail.com, then I will take a look. Caramel says, I always like your Pretty Girl University and social climbing. It's very unique. I can't find anyone in YouTube on any other language speaking about this like you do. This is why I like your channel. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Um, as far as my social climbing content and stuff, I try to speak from experience on this channel. So I try to stick to things that actually align with my real life. That's what makes it unique. Nobody can copy it if they don't have the same life story as me. Oh, yeah. And then I saw people trying to say that apparently I'm stealing other people's stories. How the fuck am I going to steal somebody else's story? Have you ever stopped to think that maybe exoticals have similar experiences? Maybe a lot of us actually have similar stories, just like how a lot of dark skinned black girls have a similar story of being called darky or, blackie or whatever. Okay, why is it that suddenly when it comes to exoticals, oh, that can't be true? You can't all have similar stories. You guys are making it up. And it's like, if we were truly making everything up, then people wouldn't be so threatened by this space. The Resilient Alchemist says, ooh, talk about Summer Walker versus Tory Bricks. Okay, so is that Summer Walker where she was like, oh, save my name under Pizza Hut and she was talking about what's his name, Rich the Kid? Yeah, that was some bullshit. That was very embarrassing. Summer Walker, she was one of my favorite artists. That literally made her go down in my book. Because I was excited. I was like, oh my God, Summer Walker is finally done with her toxic relationships. I was so excited for this album. I was like, yes, I can't wait. Like, I see that Summer Walker, she was like sharing like Shira 7 and stuff. She had that white guy. So I was expecting this new era of Summer to be about kind of leveling up, maybe like decentering men or something, or like staying in these hypergamous types of relationships. And it's funny because one of the exoticals, one of the pretty girls was dragging Summer. She was sharing a photo in the Discord of like all the men that Summer Walker dated. And it's pretty much it was nothing that you would aspire to in terms of dating. Like in terms of just physical appearance, it was giving hood booger. And as much as I love Summer, I have to say her exes definitely give hood booger. So yeah, that was some ratchet, desperate shit. And then apparently they were saying that I guess she left a voicemail begging to be a man's side chick. So that's another thing too. It's like, okay, in the black culture, you've got side chick culture. There's like the whole baby mama culture as well. But then on the surface, they try to promote this hypergamous interracial trad wife culture like they're the next Meghan Markle, like they're the next Nara Smith. But then behind closed doors, it's really side chick culture. So yeah, that was embarrassing. in terms of Summer Walker. And then the whole BBL thing, like I've seen people talking shit about her BBL. And I can tell that with her BBL, she's trying to make her hips kind of come out a little bit wider than her shoulder. She's trying to have like an hourglass shape, but I just feel like the BBL, I don't know if it's really working. So I hope she gets the BBL fixed. I also saw a picture of Vivica Fox's BBL. Somebody showed it to me today. Like in real life, somebody randomly showed me a picture. I was like, what the hell? So I'm just saying, if you're going to get a BBL, just be mindful of like where you're doing it or like the size of the BBL. Live, Laugh, Love, Midas says, yes, I love those. I'll be buying that Patreon very soon. Yeah, and I am going to have to raise the price on the Patreon. I'll probably raise it over the next couple months because at this point, I have over 400 pieces of content in there. So that's a lot of content. I do bring a lot of value as a content creator. And I just feel like there is something so special about the exotical space and the pretty girl club. So I don't know. I kind of want to weed people out, to be honest. I don't want it to be so accessible. But no, I'd probably raise it just a couple dollars, not like I wouldn't like triple the price or anything. Caramel says, yes, I get. You are right. Catalily Converter says, people know that Huda had no bad intentions. They just don't like that she was as popular as Olandria after the show. Yeah, and I wasn't keeping up with like exactly how popular each one was. And I've noticed that basically Olandria is popular in the Black community. That's what it is. Because some of the pretty girls were talking about this in the Discord as well. They were like, you know, how come some people don't think Olandria is gorgeous, or like how come people are talking shit about Olandria? Well, it's because her popularity is in the Black community. The only people I've seen raving about her beauty and all that are Black women. That's it. Not even Black men, not white men, and I'm not trying to throw shade. But that's what I've seen. Whereas Huda, I feel like Huda is more of a personality. Like she's kind of known for her unhinged moments on the show or whatever. People love toxic reality TV. So they try to pretend like, oh, she's such a bad person and we don't like these people. But it's like, okay, dude, you voted Trump into the presidency. You love shows like Baddies. Like if you just look at American culture as a whole, America loves toxicity. So I just feel like it's hypocritical to suddenly try to pinpoint Huda. That's the only problem I have. It's like, okay, if you don't like Huda, are you going to also cancel Nick? Are you going to also cancel anybody else who has said anything controversial like Trump? Or are you going to date Trump supporters? Rain Keki says, EU, have you seen the TikTok video of a biracial woman speaking about her experience with her Black mother and the comments she just couldn't handle, knowing they're also toxic? No, I haven't seen that. But if you email it to me at exoticalsunited@gmail, then I will take a look. Pretty Exotical Story 111 says, Ice Spice got a deal in SpongeBob movie while Nick is fighting for a role in Shrek. To be fair, his smile looks like Shrek's smile. Yeah, he could play one of the ogres. He needs to be an ogre. I'm an ogre. Get out of my house, donkey. Yeah, I love Shrek. That was my movie. That was my shit back in the day. But Ice Spice, who they call a colorist, it's so funny how they call us ramen noodle head ass, SpongeBob looking ass bitches. Meanwhile, you got Ice Spice. She's going to be a SpongeBob ass bitch in the SpongeBob movie. I love SpongeBob. Catalily Converter says Olandria's fans obsessing over Sierra. Oh, that's what I forgot to talk about too. Okay, Sierra, she was literally posting fucking Nick in her stories, and Nick didn't come out and check her. He didn't try to come out and say, you know, I'm with Olandria. He didn't kick her out of the party. So if you love Olandria so much, why the fuck would you allow Sierra to come into you guys' party? That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful as hell. If I had a boyfriend who allowed his ex to come into mine and his party, we would be done. I would never allow a man to disrespect me like that. Especially a man that he, like, if you think about Nick, he had sex with Sierra on Love Island. So it's like, not only does Olandria have to go through the torment of watching the man she dated have sex with another woman on national TV. Everybody knows that he smashed Sierra. But then you're allowing the woman that you smashed on national TV to come to the party and show out and cause a ruckus on social media. And then Sierra was playing that song in the background, Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me, implying that Olandria is not hot. And by the way, during that scene on Love Island where Sierra was like, oh, I'm not threatened by like you and Olandria, Nick agreed. So they're saying that Sierra has a superiority complex against Olandria. Well, so the fuck did Nick, because he sat there and was agreeing with Sierra. Like, oh yeah, there's nothing to be intimidated by. There's nothing to be threatened by. But this girl says Olandria's fans obsessing over Sierra and Huda to this day. If she's doing so amazing, why are they mocking a woman for crying and bringing people's kids into drama that is above Olandria? Yeah, mocking like Huda for crying, that just tells me that they've been socialized to be hard and like a soldier or like a gangster, or you know what I mean? Like that's a part of monocultural blackness. It's this culture of never letting them see you cry. You can't cry because that's feminine. You can't cry because then you're being a baby. You're being soft if you cry. So I'm not surprised at people making fun of Huda for crying. Kind of like what they say about some of the exoticals. They say it's like light skin tears or mixed girl tears or pretty girl tears. I've had a lot of people try to say that my content makes being pretty into being a victim. And I feel like that's interesting because why is it okay for every other type of woman to talk about difficult things she has gone through? But then when it comes to us, suddenly we need to be silent. Which one is it? Do I have freedom of speech or not? BN Hidden says, thank you, girl. It's so complicated. She's in a big group with all these Karens. It's all politics. Oh, yeah, that's why you got to out Karen the Karens. I love being a Karen, by the way. That is one of my social climbing tactics. I will leave reviews. I will call corporate on your ass. I will report you. I will screenshot things so that if you delete it, I still have a screenshot of it so I can report it to whoever, the police, investigators, the board. Sarah M says, it was because of this channel that I ate a phage Greek yogurt for dinner when I really wanted a KFC meal deal. That is funny. I don't know what a phage Greek yogurt is, but I do like Greek yogurt. I haven't had enough protein in a couple days. Okay, so I recently switched up my groceries. I was trying to be like kind of cheap with my protein, so I don't know what I was thinking. I tried to buy like all these eggs, but then I quickly realized like, okay, wait a minute. I can't eat 100 and something grams of protein with all eggs. I can't do that. I can't eat that many eggs in one day. So yeah, basically I'm fucked when it comes to protein. So I'm probably going to have cravings like over the next couple days. Live, Laugh, Love Midas says also, you're completely right. On exoticals are the blueprint. I noticed the channels that critique yours are naming their titles and shaping their content like yours. Yes, shout out to all my sons. All these bitches are my sons. Because yeah, they'll never be able to measure up to the exotical space. Also, part of how I know that we're like the blueprint, like if you look at this channel's content, there are over 150 channels that have been inspired by this content, so much so to the point where they were willing to name their channels after the exotical space. That's a sign of a real community. That's a sign that we have a real sisterhood over here. And I think that's what makes our sector special. We're very inspiring to a lot of women. Like we're definitely inspiring the decentering men space. We definitely inspired an entire niche. The pretty privileged niche, that wasn't even a niche until I came on YouTube. Let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it a buck, okay? Let's just keep it real over here in these streets. Jane Toussaint says, Summer Walker was better when she didn't talk. Yeah, I love her singing. I wish she would just like do the music and like, yeah. The Resilient Alchemist says, it was so embarrassing. And yes, it made me look at her so different. Like, I thought she was above that. Then again, the ghetto ones never change. Yeah. Are you guys talking about the Summer Walker thing? Well, and I think it was because the wife, she tweeted or she put a post that said like me and him would fuck with your music playing in the background. First of all, bitch, that's not a flex. That's not a flex that your man wants to play the music of another woman he fucked while he's fucking you. That is not a flex at all. So like both of them are giving extreme pick me. It's basically an argument who wants who. You know, who does he want more? I'm the preference. I'm more of a preference than you. So it's extremely male centered. One thing I will never become is a male centered YouTube channel. Oh, and also I was going to say about you guys asking about MLS male creators and like why I don't collaborate with them. Number one, none of them have asked me to collaborate that I know of. But also, I never want this channel to become like an MLS pick me channel or like an MLS mammy channel. That was not the purpose of this space. So I never wanted us to go from being pick me's with black men or white men to suddenly being pick me's with MLS men. I think part of what makes this channel special is the fact that I don't promote being codependent on men at all. Because it's also not a man's responsibility to fix you. It's not his responsibility to like build up your self-esteem. So that's another reason why I shape my content the way that I do. Meta Trinity said, she totally broke Shira 7's rules. You don't call a man begging. Yeah, like Summer Walker. Wait, am I behind on the comments? Oh, you guys are really commenting a lot. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit. Laura Diva says, I feel like I'm being brainwashed into becoming a side chick if I listen to Summer Walker too much. Yeah, her music is kind of about like arguing back and forth with other women. That is kind of the theme behind a lot of her music. And that's why I made that video a while ago. It was a decentering men video, and I talked about how a part of my decentering men journey was decentering music like SZA and Summer Walker, who are two of my favorite artists, but their lyrics can be sketchy. But I noticed though, I'm gonna have to do it again because now I've noticed that like I was listening to male singers. Like I have to admit I am obsessed with Leon Thomas's music. So I noticed I was kind of listening to men singing, but then it's like the man he's kind of singing to you, and I also don't want that to be a thing either. I don't want to be like seduced by this man. You know, you're kind of like being seduced by this man's voice. You're kind of being seduced by the lyrics in the song. So I'm very mindful of that because I understand how subliminal messaging works. I know how like brainwashing can work and stuff. So I don't really want to socialize myself into becoming like desperate. So yeah, I was thinking about that today. I was like, oh, maybe I'll choose a different genre. Caramel says, one of your advices that really benefits me is don't keep for women who don't keep for you. So empowered. I don't really understand the English here, but oh, don't cape. Is that what you're saying? Don't cape for women who don't cape for you. Exactly. If you don't acknowledge my beauty, I won't acknowledge yours. You don't compliment my beauty, I'm not complimenting yours. You don't promote or prioritize my image, I won't prioritize yours. You don't want to hear my life story. You don't want to hear my story times. I'm not listening to yours. You don't want to hear my experiences with colorism, texturism, or featureism. Then I'm not listening to yours. So, yeah, that's a very good way to take yourself out of this mule position because a lot of people, they want to use you as their emotional punching bag. They want to use you as their stepping stone. They want to ride your coattails. We talk a lot about how some women will try to they try to mirror you. They socially mirror after the exoticals. They want to mirror our dating lives. They want to mirror our aesthetic, hair textures, etc. So it's like, no. If you're going to be over here mirroring me, give me my exotical tax. Hold on, let me drink some water really quick. So I just got a giant water cup. It's kind of like a Stanley cup, and I have chlorophyll water in here. So it's like that dark green liquid that you put in your water. By the way, it helps go to the bathroom. So if you're struggling with bloating, like in terms of weight gain and stuff, and having like a puffy stomach, it always helps my stomach to stay snatched, and it also helps my skin to look very vibrant. But the bad thing though is that the chlorophyll, it's literally like this dark green water, so it stains everything. So if I accidentally knock over this water bottle, my entire rug is going to get stained. My clothes are going to get stained. But that's just a tip. That's one of my skinny girl hacks. I don't know if I can say the word skinny. Dang it. Demonetized. Christian 5125 says, and honestly, they couldn't wait to attack Huda over something she didn't say. Yeah, I feel like people just want you to be their social slave. That's what it is. They want you to be their stepping stone. They want you to prioritize their image over your own. And in Huda's case, Huda is very strategic and smart. She's not going to prioritize other people. And I will say, a lot of people didn't even notice that when she was on the show, she was actually scared of the black girls. She didn't like I didn't hear anybody call that out. She was actually scared of like Shelly and Olandria. Olandria is the one that actually made her cry when Olandria took Shelly's side when she was beefing with Shelly, who is she was being a major pick me with Ace. Remember how Shelly was like forgiving Ace for everything, but not forgiving Huda? That was stupid. Chelsea says, I really don't see why she still hangs around him. He doesn't like her. And I don't even think she likes him. Yeah, Olandria and Nick, they're not fooling anyone. Yaha in hot pink says, greetings EU, on my way home now. Yay, pretty girl club. Black people in the Middle East, how so? You can be of black descent and be all over the world. Would you consider Candace Owens an exotical? Absolutely not. Are you serious right now? No shade towards Candace Owens. But yeah, she's monoracial, if I'm not mistaken. Chelsea says, I can never understand the people who hate you. You literally help so many women. Seriously. Thanks. And also, it's like, okay, look at the hater archetype of the exotical space. What are their body types? What are their backgrounds? Where are they from? And also, have you ever noticed how a lot of the other content, it becomes extremely repetitive? Because a lot of the women who are making the content, they have no lives. They're just making theoretical limerence fantasy content. They're basically creating videos that are going to serve as an emotional coping mechanism for black women who are being femcels, basically. They're femcels. Let's just be honest. It's literally femcel culture. And I saw somebody in my Discord commenting about how some of these women are like DL lesbians. And a lot of times the jealousy they have towards you, it can also come from secretly actually liking you or like being attracted to you. That is totally a thing because a lot of people do talk about DL men, but they don't talk about DL women. And I think that's actually a really good point. Why does nobody talk about that? I am Bella Rain says, I've given up casual music listening just because of my racing thoughts. I try to feed my mind helpful stuff if it's going to be replaying nonstop. Yes, I agree. So like when I'm driving, I have a curated playlist. I have like a sing-along playlist and then I have like my other playlists. But I will actually listen to YouTube videos when I'm driving. I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So, yeah, I hope you guys get like the Libby app because you can get free audiobooks on there. That's where I get all my stuff from. But I also spend up all my money on Apple Books. So, Bella Rain says it looks insane. I just do a serving because it will stain, and I wear a lot of ballet pink. Yes, it stains everything. The chlorophyll gets on my fingers and everything, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is not cute. And then I remember one time it got on my teeth, and I was like, okay, how is this gonna work? Like walking around with green teeth. The Resilient Alchemist says, Shelley is definitely a pick me. I'm exhausted over women allowing dusty men to make them look bad. Whatever happened with Shelley and Ace? I haven't like kept up with them or heard anything about that. I couldn't stand Ace. Oh my God. I mean, I literally I could not stand Ace. Ace, he's the type of guy that just likes every new girl that walks into the villa. So, he's just a typical hoe. And we should stop calling men players because they're not players. Let's call them what they actually are, hoes, community dick. He is community dick. That's all he is. That's all he wants to be. Can't turn a hoe into a husband. Christina Wright says, hey, pretty girls, I am just coming in. If someone is copying your look, hair, makeup, etc., does that mean I have to switch up my look? I don't really like clones. Yeah, you can switch up your look if you want to. You don't have to, though. You could always just be the quote unquote better version of the same look. I've done both before, and it really will humble them. Like if you're both wearing the exact same outfit and makeup and then you just look amazing and you're getting a higher level of attention than them, it can be very humbling for them. So they won't be able to keep up with you for long. But I've done both. So I've kept the same look. And I remember, like, I have actually called people out before. So at work, that beluga lady that was my manager, she was copying my outfits. She literally copied my shoes. I'm like, it's 80 degrees outside. Nobody wears boots, like rain boots and snow boots when it's hot. That is definitely a part of my signature look because I love boots. And I actually called her out. So you can be petty if you want. You can call her out and you can be like, oh, wow, you look really cute today. Your outfit looks just like mine. You love dressing like me. I'm really flattered that you've been dressing like me lately, Susan. It's really good to see that you're wearing pencil skirts 2 days after I was just wearing pencil skirts. Like, that's something I would do is just kind of call it out sarcastically. Or I could just switch up my look so much to the point where they can't keep up. And that is the benefit of having ambiguity when it comes to your look. So, exoticals, that's an advantage that you have. When you wear a different hairstyle, you look like a different person. You don't look like the same exact person who just plopped on a blonde wig. No, you look totally different. You look unrecognizable when you switch up your hair, your makeup, and all that stuff. So, that's one of the funnest parts of getting my exotical tags. Aries says, I think Ace and Shelly are just as fake. So are they still doing it? Like, are they still doing this act? I don't feel like anybody actually believed Ace and Shelly. And I think part of it is because Ace, he showed his ass so bad on the Love Island. Also, he's only like, what, 23 or something like that? He's super young and he acts like it too. So I don't think anybody really took him seriously. Prime Rib says, pretty privilege is real. My mother would always tell me stories about how random strangers give her things or pay for her groceries. Yeah. We talk about that a lot in the Patreon. Some of the pretty girl like benefits that we've received. By the way, you can always comment. Feel free to comment on here any privileges you have received or like gifts that you've gotten like for being pretty. And I think that'll be good motivation for the other pretty girls that watch this live stream. The Resilient Alchemist says Ace is for the streets. Yeah. Bella Rain says, make sure to get you some gloves if you're going somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm wearing gloves to preserve my manicure. You know what? I destroy my manicures all the time. So, yeah, I need to do that. Did you hear about Cardi B and Offset? No, what happened with them? Are they back together? Because I heard that like she just had a baby. I heard that there was speculation. People were saying that, oh no, that's not her baby. That's Offset's baby. I heard that Offset commented and was like, oh, that's mine. You know, that's my baby. I didn't know if it was true though. Chelsea says Ace is like a puppy. He looks like he humps everything. Yeah. Caramel says, what's your favorite color other than pink? Purple is actually my second favorite color. So it goes pink is first, then purple, and then blue. Yeah. So as far as purple, not the dark purple, more so like the light pastel purple, like a lavender, kind of like a lilac. I love that color purple. And then as far as blue, I really like a soft blue, like a baby blue or like powder blue. That's probably my favorite, like a powdery blue. Any sort of chalky color, it looks really good on my skin tone. So yeah, kind of like the Easter egg colors. Those are my favorites. Bella Rain says, so my husband told me to say, OMG, that look is so Bella. And it works. They'll admit it gladly. Yeah. And a lot of times, other people in the office or wherever you're at, other people are going to notice when somebody's copying you. So that's why, like in my case, sometimes you guys will be like, Exoticals United, these people are copying you. It's okay. The audience knows. The audience knows. And also, a lot of those like people who might be copying and stuff, those people, they're going to have to join my Patreon so they can get more content. So that's why I'm not mad or anything, because it's always going to benefit my pockets and it's going to benefit the exoticals. That's why I try to tell you guys too, I hope you guys start your own channels because this is going to go mainstream probably over the next 10 to 15 years. So I know it sounds like it's really far away, but it's really not that far away. But yeah, over the next 10 to 15 years or so, this channel is going to become bigger and, I'm not going anywhere. So there's no way I can go but up. There's nowhere I can go but up. Even if I were to grow slowly over the next 15 years, this space is still going to continue to grow. So I hope that you guys make your own channels so you can get a piece of the pie. I don't want a whole bunch of infiltrators trying to come in. I mean, it's already happening, but it's like that's part of why infiltrators try to come in and make content and they try to attract the exotical audience. A lot of it is based on money. They want to make money off of it. But they can never do it the same way we do it though, because I noticed they can't go into detail about their experiences with pretty privilege. Why is it that Chrissy, for example, how come she can never go into detail about her weight loss strategies? Well, it's because she's still fat. That's why. Why is it that she can never go into detail or tell you exact stories of the privileges she has received in dating, for example? All that talk about men, all their obsession with white men, yet not one of those content creators can go into detail or actually show somebody on their live stream that they're dating? And that's why I like Shira7 and not the other ones, because at least Shira7, she actually tried to help your crazy asses. She actually brought on her husband, who is black, by the way. So she's not like a divester. She actually showed you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then you got people taking that for granted or trying to dox her or whatever. But then all these other creators who claim to be such experts, they don't show you shit. They just want to collect the money on. Christina Wright says, OMG, thank you so very much for answering my question. Love your videos. Yes, girl, she has my whole hairstyle all the way to the bangs. Oh, yeah, I'd call that shit out. I'd be like, oh, twinsies. Oh, look at my twin. I had bangs last week. She has bangs this week. Let me switch it up and see if she copies it again. Exotical tax. Caramel says, I used to feel so guilty for thinking I am pretty. Thanks. Yeah, one of the things that I kind of regret is in my 20s allowing other people kind of like having this talking point of humility. You have to show that you're humble. You have to be down to earth. No, I'm no longer doing that. I'm leaving that shit in my 20s. That's not going to be in my 30s. Cream Bouquet says, do you have any favorite pretty girl tips for the workplace? Yes, dress up at work. That is my favorite thing to do. Actually, I still dress up. Did you know that I still dress up to this day? Probably about once a week or once every 2 weeks. I will dress up and I will go out and work in public. So I'll go work at a co-working space, at a coffee shop. I'll meet up with a friend somewhere and then I'll go work in like a food court or something. So that's one of my favorite tips for when I'm in work mode is I like to dress up. I like to always have like my makeup done or whatever. Right now I'm recording this. My hair is actually in rollers right now because it's silk press season, baby. So, my hair is rolled up because I just got my silk press. But yeah, that's one of my favorite pretty girl tips. Also, one of the things I used to love doing at my cubicle is decorating my cubicle and making it all pink because that's my favorite color. So I would like put construction paper up on the cubicle walls. Eventually I got an office, but then by the time I finally got promoted to get a freaking office, by that time I was already about to be a content creator. So I was like, fuck this. But it kind of depends on how permanent you view that job. So the way I view it is, okay, if I plan on being here for like maybe a few months or, 6 months or more, then I can start kind of gradually decorating it because it's a good way to show aspects of my personality. And also, one of the other things I loved doing was obviously I would put pictures of my family. I'd put all my pictures up. I have my beautiful multicultural, multiracial family members and everything. And that's another way that I would kind of like show my personality, if that makes sense. And then I would put them in like picture frames and stuff. It was really cute. I would put like my mom and dad and everything. Cata Lily says, every update on your success makes me so happy. Aw, thank you so much. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys, honestly. When I first started this channel, I never thought that I would be doing it full time. I didn't think so many people would be able to relate to the content. And honestly, this channel has helped to heal me as well. It helped me to realize a lot of things about myself. Um, yeah, I'm so grateful for this space. Aries says, I had a coworker who asked if I lost weight, and I told him no to keep the high ground. What, like you lost weight and you lied and said you didn't? I mean, when I lost weight, I didn't tell anybody. So, like, nobody even knew that I was losing weight. Cata Lily. And by the way, with my weight loss to this day, I would say about 90% of my friends and people who know me, 90% of them still don't really know that I lost weight because that's how little they actually paid attention. The main people who really noticed it were like my parents, my brother. It's funny because my dad, he was like, "Oh, you look like you're like 17 years old." Yeah, so just my parents notice it. Um, let me see this comment. Bella Rain says, "Isn't Offset? Wasn't he trying to claim the baby? I'm not sure. I don't keep up, even though I do think she's funny." Yeah, I think he was trying to claim the baby. So maybe he was trying to sabotage the relationship with what's his name, Stefan Dust. Chelsea says, I'm thinking about exploring my wardrobe and I think I want to be more risque, but I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh, I can relate. I was always very modest. I still am actually slightly modest. Like I'm not going to do like a booty post on social media or anything. But yeah, it's been fun kind of exploring that side of myself. And by the way, one of my favorite things about being a size small, I was going to make a part 3. You know how I made the video where it's like being a size small versus a medium or large? Well, I'm a size extra small. But one of my favorite things is the back of my legs, my thighs, just my legs, my thighs, and then the back of my thighs, kind of like below my butt area. So not the butt, but like the back of my legs is so pretty. I never thought that I would be obsessed with like how the back of my legs look in a skirt or a dress. So that's one of my favorite. I feel like that's like a sexy, it gives like a sexy look. I don't know. Having like skinny thighs and like, but I still have wide hips though. There are pros and cons to that. Bella says Cinderella blue. Yeah, that's a pretty color. The Resilient Alchemist says Offset threatened to jump and injure Stefan, and the baby is Stefan's. Offset refuses to sign the $10 million divorce. He wants half of Cardi's money and the kids. So dusty and desperate. Yeah, I can't name not one Offset song. So I know his career is probably on the decline. He's probably a sex addict. He probably uses sex as a form of escape. That's what a lot of dusty men do, especially when their wives are more successful than them. They cheat so they can feel powerful, because they feel emasculated being the broke one in the relationship, being the one that doesn't have the career. It kind of reminds me of DDG and Halle Bailey. Halle Bailey is everything that DDG wants to be. She's a musician. He wants to be a musician. She is more like respected in Hollywood. He wants to be respected in Hollywood. So I'm not surprised. Hold on, let me get some more water really quick. Cata Lily Converter says, I used to feel guilty being upset about people copying. Glad to know I'm not being hard enough on them. Yeah, because you're their fucking blueprint. You are the Beyonce of The Office. You are the famous. It's so funny. I actually just saw a TikToker. She posted something about being the celebrity in The Office. I was like, oh, she watches my content. The Resilient Alchemist says, I started this channel because of you. Oh, I have to make sure I'm subscribed to it. If you have a channel, you can comment in this live stream, and then hopefully people will click on your face and then they'll like subscribe to you. But she says, I think I'll dive into exotical content soon. Right now, I'm doing intellectual videos. That's cool. I like this concept of alchemy. I like that talking point. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that or don't really know what it is. To be honest, I don't even halfway know what it is, but I like the concept. Meta Trinity says, EU, I am guessing you go mainstream in 5 years. Everything is accelerated now. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how I feel about it though. And it's so weird because even in my real life, people are treating me differently and everything. And like, I don't know how I feel because I genuinely did not start this channel expecting anything of it. Like, I really didn't expect it to ever be big. So, yeah, I guess I'm excited though. I guess I'll be excited for like the money part. Chick Fenwick says, I am white and I love S7. What is that? Season 7? Or I don't know. Bella Rain says, they have no idea because they don't live it. Yeah. She says they love to do this hypothetical daydreaming. It's weird. Yeah, it's just, it's hypotheticals. This is what I would do if I were a celebrity. This is what I would do if I were skinny. This is what I would do if I had type 3 hair. Voice for Lighty says, free drinks and desserts for me and my man at restaurants. Yeah, that's another thing people don't talk about is how your pretty privilege actually affects your boyfriend, or whatever man you're with, or if you have children, your pretty privilege affects your children. Like, I know that actually happened to me before on a date where the guy, he gave me and my ex at the time like a free meal. And even my ex was like, oh, that's your pretty privilege. And I was like, oh, cool. Caramel says, I get hair products from brands and I have a coupon in my name. I am very good at convincing people to buy things, and this is my exotical tax. Yeah. Why do you think most exoticals are like social media content creators and stuff? It's because they're pretty. Pretty Girl Club. Bella Rain says, showing you're humble does not help you. Yep. Promise says, did you see the new gossip on Glorilla? Oh, yes, I did. Talk about her nose and saying she looks like white chicks and saying she is not light skinned and she's insecure. It's like, okay, if she's insecure, I'll give you that. I did see that just yesterday. I think Glorilla looks good. And also with the nose job, isn't it hilarious how the one ethnicity that is literally, that's literally one of the biggest insecurities in the black community is noses. I mean, why don't they talk about that? That's one of the biggest insecurities. It's nose, hair, and skin tone. So I'm not surprised that they're randomly projecting onto Glorilla's nose. I think that she got her nose done, and I think that she even promoted it. She basically was like, and did, like, so what? This is how I look. Also, with her skin tone, Glorilla, she was always light skinned. And I feel like when you're light skinned, you're not allowed to get any lighter because, obviously they're going to accuse you of bleaching. In fact, I can't think of not one light skinned celebrity that has not been accused of bleaching. So if you're light skinned and maybe you stay out of the sun, because in Glorilla's case, maybe she's staying out of the sun, or maybe she's, I don't know, she could be doing skin treatments or something. I mean, to me, she looks the same, but I don't keep up with her actual complexion that much. So if her complexion is different, if she is doing something to be as light as possible, who gon' check her? She's already rich. She's already famous. Clearly, she doesn't give a fuck if she's promoting her light ass skin tone on social media. But yeah, she was always light skinned. So I think they're just mad because they can't make fun of her like how they used to. This person says, but you trying to find her yourself and her is not insecure. A Keishology, I don't know how to say your name, sorry. She says, if you want to explore more risque styles, layering is a great way to start. Wearing tights, leggings, or shorts or underneath so that you will feel covered. Sheer tops as underlayers and stuff like that. That is smart. I have never tried the tights, but yeah, that definitely gives like kind of this risque type of look. And I feel like some aesthetics are a little bit risque. Kind of like the goth aesthetic is like risque, like the punk rock aesthetic. Um, yeah, anything that involves like bra tops, corsets, crop tops, even like fitness, even the fitness aesthetic is kind of risque. Like with the backless bras, that's very risque. Like your boobs are being held up by strings in the gym, and then those booty shorts where it's like they have the stitching in between the butt cheeks. That's definitely risque. Oh, that's what this girl is saying. You trying to find yourself and her is not insecure. I am Bella Rain says, my biggest tip for exoticals is not feeling guilty about all of your privileges. Some of us are the exception to almost every rule. We are just given things and that's okay. You are not less than. Exactly. Everybody doesn't get to be the star. No, I'm kidding. You are the star of your own life. So as exoticals, we have the right to go where we are celebrated. So that's why I don't tell you guys who to date, by the way, because a lot of people, they want me, like I have noticed some MLS men who comment on my channel all the time and they'll be like, why are they dating unambiguous men? Or why are they dating white men? And it's like, I'm not going to tell the exoticals who they should and shouldn't date because, first of all, men are not a monolith anyway. And also, if you're already with someone and they happen to be white or black or whatever, Hispanic or something, if that's where you are celebrated, if that's where you feel loved and cherished and all that, why would I take that away from women of my own community? Doesn't make sense. But yes, go where you're celebrated for sure. Chick Fenwick says, I know my hair struggles are not the same, but my straggly strands need help. Yeah, tell me about it. I like it when you say we can buy clothes from Shein and I still look good. Yeah, exactly. When your body is T, the outfit is T. I don't have to shop at Zara. I love Zara, but I don't have to shop there in order to look good because I don't need to get a thick ass dress to try to hold in my thighs, trying to hold in my boobs, trying to hold in my diaper booty. So, no, I don't have to have a dress that is made out of this super thick material all the time, walking around sweaty and shit. You have a sweat patch underneath your boobs, sweat patch in between your thighs. I'm not doing that. Ernestine Wilson says, hi, EU and my fellow exotical sisters. Yes, Pretty Girl Club. Keep your weight loss to yourself for your peace. Yeah, I don't think I would have lost weight if I would have told everyone, hey, Pretty In Between. Yay, be sure to subscribe to Pretty In Between. Bella Rain says, Stefan Dust. Chick Fenwick says, I've lost 60 pounds and nobody says anything unless I bring it up first. And then they'll say that I look a lot thinner now. Yeah, I think weight loss is a sensitive subject too. Because some people, they get offended when you call them skinny. Like I've noticed that, especially in the black community. They get offended when you call them skinny. So it makes sense if people don't want to call you skinny. Like I understand why. I am Bella Rain says, I love my back. I have the tiniest waist from the back. Pilates is doing great things for my obliques. All this shit that I talked about Pilates. Okay, so today I was looking at this girl that I know. Her body was so snatched. And I was like, you know what? She does Pilates. I was like, maybe I'll do Pilates. So I spent the last 6 months talking all this shit, basically bashing Pilates in my content. And now I'm like, okay, wait, maybe I want to try it because I just feel like I hate weightlifting, so I want another way to like have resistance. Um, I don't know, but Pilates, it's also it can get a little pricey. So we'll see. The Resilient Alchemist says, I was a beluga, so my weight loss is super noticeable, but I'm going to a size small, currently a medium. So yeah, I am already prepared for the comments. Yes, welcome to the size small club. Rihanna and ASAP Rocky, what happened with them? I think they had another baby, right? Didn't they have a little girl? Resilient says, I still need to lose another 20 pounds, but getting there. Yes, you got this. The Resilient Alchemist says, I am literally the Beyonce of my office. And you're welcome. Yep, I mostly talk about alchemic aspects of life. Yeah, and also, if you're the Beyonce of your office, I would seriously consider doing a promotion, getting a promotion at that job or maybe like leveling up from that job because the thing about Beyonce is a lot of people know that they're not on her level. They know that she's in a world of her own. They know that she's creating her own lane. They know that she's a legend. She's an icon. So if you are like the Beyonce of your office, you're kind of like an icon, but in the office. So that's a sign that you may be outgrowing that space or you're eventually going to outgrow that space. In fact, sometimes people will actually comment and be like, what are you doing here? Like, why do you work here? That's always so annoying and like low key embarrassing when they say that. Akishology says, I decided to focus on my fitness journey and ignore everyone else. Everyone always has an opinion about my body, but the only one that matters is mine. Working towards that toned model look. Exactly. Your body, your choice. And it's like, why is everybody so obsessed with the pretty girls' bodies? They're obsessed with our workouts. They're obsessed with whether or not our bodies are real or fake. They're obsessed with who we're sleeping with. They're obsessed with whether or not we're hoes. S7 equals Sheer 7. Oh, okay. Cool. C5 the Dragon says, if you got a TikTok, you'd be big in less than a year. But that would come with so much drama. Yes, I'm already experiencing drama on my TikTok. I got several videos removed, but I just recently became back active on TikTok. So you can follow me at exoticals.united. I just hit 400 followers. So yes, and I have some TikToks scheduled already out through December. So I am going to be posting on there. I do have to wake up and delete people every single day. Um, I still haven't learned how to block people on TikTok. So yeah. Bella Rain says, people treat my husband like a celebrity. The men do the head nod. All the people want to know about us. We don't know those people at all. Yeah, you raise the status of whatever man you happen to be with because people are like, oh, how did he get her? And that's why a lot of men in like the red pill space, a lot of men are obsessed with who we're dating, what we're doing. Like I said, go look at O'Shea Duke Jackson's channel, and the majority of his commentary on women, they are almost all MLS women. It's at least 90% MLS women. He's constantly talking about like Tia Mori and like Stacey Dash and like, all these exoticals all the time. So a lot of men, they're obsessed with us because we are status symbols in their eyes. Yay, pretty in between. Trey Bell says, hey, EU community, I actually love that you are live. You should do that more. But could we talk about unambiguous Black women trying to put us down for no reason at all? I'm currently going through that. Yeah, I think that whenever a woman is trying to just put you down for no reason, like she is clearly threatened. Like clearly you have emotionally dysregulated her and that's why this bitch is mad. Like I'm currently dealing with that too in my real life. I'm currently dealing with people like trying to examine who I'm talking to. I mean, this is part of why I said I have no male friends too, because I feel like a lot of it is revolving around the male gaze, even in the workplace. If the male manager is nice to you, then suddenly there are rumors that you're sleeping with them. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Because of my pretty privilege, I get away with a lot in the corporate office. Isn't that one of the greatest things about pretty privilege? You can have the most basic outfit. You could be untalented. You could be not funny, have no personality, and still get away with it. You could be a complete bitch. You could be boring, and you get away with it. That's one of the things I like about pretty privilege too. It literally makes life easier. It's life on easy mode, just like everyone says. Cat Cata Lily Converter says, why is you're not light skin always an insult though? I thought melanin was popping. Exactly. Which one is it? Is it a compliment to be light skinned or not? Which one's the compliment? Being light skinned or dark skinned? Because clearly people are making it a competition. Khadijah says, I think they're upset she looks better blonde than they do. Ooh, that's a great point. A lot of people definitely get triggered with the hair color change. Like that's happened to me too in real life, where they're not triggered when I wear black hair, because that's the hair color that they can pull off too. But as soon as you start pulling off hair colors and hairstyles that they can't do, then that's when the trigger comes in. That's when the jealousy becomes inflamed. That's a really good point, Khadijah. That's a really good point. I hope you have a channel. Prime Rib says height privilege is the male equivalent of pretty privilege. Yeah, I definitely think that male pretty privilege exists, or like I call it handsome man privilege or handsome male privilege. That is definitely a thing. So having height as a man or having a nice build, like the body shape, because no, let's be honest, the body shape matters. I can't deal with a man that has bigger hips than me. Like I can't deal with it when it's like, he's got thick thighs and like a thick booty. So yeah, that's definitely a thing in the male community as well. It's kind of like the concept of male pretty privilege. They kind of go through a similar thing to us exoticals, where it's like they get fetishized, they get pedestalized. I talked about how one of the main reasons I stopped watching Bridgerton, I stopped watching it. It's funny because I actually might start watching it again. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. But one of the reasons I had stopped watching it was because I didn't like the extreme fetishization of the MLS man in that show. I thought it was really weird and cringy. And I love Shonda Rhimes. But I have noticed a theme in a lot of her shows where there's always kind of this fetishization of some sort of MLS man or like a white man, because she wrote Scandal. So it's like there's always a fetishization of a man who's lighter and brighter and whiter. I don't know if she does it on purpose or what, but you can tell she's definitely catering to the black femcel audience. So, fetishizing a man, that's actually still a form of pedestalizing him. The only difference is that you're pedestalizing his dick as opposed to pedestalizing him as a human being. So both of them are bad. But yeah, I agree that there definitely is a such thing as like a handsome man privilege. I don't really see any male content creators talking about that. But then again, I don't really keep up with them that much. But that's definitely a thing. And I've definitely seen men be jealous of other men's looks. And also, I've seen women actually be jealous if you're dating a guy that is actually attractive and she has to date an ogre. She has to date this beluga. She has to date Santa Claus in order to be taken on a date. And then you're dating a guy who actually looks normal. He actually looks decent. He looks like a regular type of guy that you would date. I have definitely seen that dynamic as well. Chelsea says, I hate when people want you to be humble because they want you to consistently downplay everything about yourself. That's not humble. It's just getting rid of competition in their eyes. Yeah. They're trying to knock you out of your spot. So you can be pretty as long as you don't know you're pretty. Like there's this one girl that I know in real life. She's an exotical and she never does her hair and makeup. And I know that it's because of who she hangs out with. I just know that those girls that she hangs out with are rude to her or they try to convince her that like, oh, you don't need that. You don't need makeup. You don't need your hair done. The Resilient Alchemist says Glorilla looks amazing. Her workout routine is nice. Yeah, she has that natural like six-pack body where like she can get a six-pack really easily. I am Bella Rain says, I'm going to get more tights and try some short shorts. Ugh, I love my cute gym fits. Yeah, the gym is definitely, you can definitely get risque with the gym if you want to. For those of you who are just coming in, we're talking about all kinds of random topics right now. I was talking shit about the Danish deception thing. So I watched the first 15 minutes. I haven't watched the whole thing. But yeah, there are some pick-me-ass bitches in this world. So Voice for Lighties says X-Man had pretty privilege too. X-Man, like the character? Is this a male creator? Are you a male creator or a female creator? Voice for Lighties. I don't remember who X-Men was. I don't remember if I saw that movie or not. I am Bella Rain says, people would try to make me feel bad because I have things easy. That is just one part of me. I study hard and stay consistent with things. I don't have to do backbreaking work to be valid. Exactly. Like if you think of the Danish deception lady, that black girl, she feels like she has to have that much money or give out that much money or put in that work just to get the same results of male attention. Because that woman, she asked him for his contact information. She was the one volunteering, giving out her phone number. She's the one that still showed up to see him after he stood her up in the bar, which people seem to overlook. Literally in the first 5 minutes, that girl admitted that he left her hanging in the bar, and then she got so tired that she had to leave and go home because she was jet lagged. So I just wanted to put that out there. Women are desperate up in this bitch. Trey Bell says, try resistance bands. Yes, I do have some resistance bands, so I need to be using those. Alicia Rice says, hey, would it be okay if I email you something personal? You and other similar channels have really opened my eyes. I would like to hear your insight. Yes, my email is exoticalsunited@gmail.com. So you guys can feel free to email like video requests or story times. I mean, you guys can put anything in here that you want me to talk about. You can comment it right now while I'm live, and then I can like touch on it. So we can talk our shit. The Resilient Alchemist says, oh wait, no. Chelsea says, I'm definitely going to stop being humble. It's overrated because humble people almost never get their time to shine. Exactly. You know how people talk about being overlooked and being invisible in the black community? Well, you know why? It's because a lot of them were socialized in a Christian background. You're sitting up in the Baptist church getting scammed by Reverend Dr. Johnson. So it's like you don't have time to like celebrate yourself. The Resilient Alchemist says, I got a promotion and I'm already planning to go to a different department. Congrats. Pilates is also a vibe. I do the unlimited price plan. When you are not super fat, you don't be pouring sweat. I love that for me. I low-key love that the girls in Pilates always admire me. Yeah, if you are strong enough to do Pilates, I say go for it. Dom Rowan X says, I work in healthcare and I get told all the time that I don't belong there. Yeah, it's like, is that a compliment or an insult? Like, which one is it? Saying that I don't belong here. They can't even get fit, hence obsessed. It's like, ma'am, if you were to spend as much time focusing on yourself as you do focusing on me, you would actually be in shape. Amethyst07 says, please keep this up. Trey Bell says, Exoticals, do you mind me asking a personal question here? It might be controversial. Yeah, I don't mind. Just comment whatever you need to comment. No guarantees that I'll answer it, depending on what the question is. But yeah. Starlight says, I have a question. Why do people question what others are doing? Because they have no lives of their own. So they live vicariously through you. They're very parasocial. It's a form of escapism. Gossip is a form of escape. Gossip is a way that they try to de-stress themselves. Gossip is a form of emotional regulation for leveled down women. So that's why they focus on what you're doing. That's why they're monitoring spirits. You know, they're following everything you do on social media. It's a way to escape from their boring, pathetic lives. So yeah, that's why they do that. If you guys hear me moving around in the background, I'm sorry. It's because I'm like walking around right now. Because my back, sometimes my back randomly starts hurting if I'm like sitting down for a long time because my body is used to like moving. Let me look at these comments here. Voice for Lighty says, I like my face shape and jawline the most. People grossly underestimate the power of a snatched jawline. I mean, that's literally what separates a model from an iguana, is the jawline. So I agree. I like my face shape too. Dom says, right, I just smile and nod because they mean it as a compliment, but it's so off-putting. Yeah, if you're talking about people saying like, why are you working here? Like you don't belong. I'm just like, okay, bitch, do you have any ideas? What do you mean I don't belong? How are you going to tell me what to do with my life? You can't make this shit up. Pretty in between says we hardly ever get written up. Yeah, like anytime I had a male boss, I will admit, whenever I had a male boss, I mean, I never got in trouble. Like all the bullshit I did, I never got in trouble for that shit. Chick Fenwick says, women on X get mad or ignore me for talking about how important pretty privilege is. Yeah, I'm not surprised because they don't want you to also be heard. I notice when you're pretty, people don't want you to be seen and heard. They feel like you have to pick one. Otherwise, you're being greedy. And I feel like a lot of unattractive women are the main ones who were dominating the pretty privilege conversation. And now that's changing. Thanks to the exoticals. This person says, I know, right? Also fashion they can't wear. That is funny. That is one of my favorite things about being thin too. It's being able to pull off outfits that other women can't pull off. I'm just going to be honest, especially outfits that show my stomach, especially when I show the lower stomach and lower back. It's over. These bitches are cooked. Hold on. Let me put my charger in my laptop. Oh my gosh. This is annoying. Okay, let me look at some of these other comments here. She says, it's because you were there to help people because you chose it. People love being rude and mean. Yeah, it's a coping mechanism, being mean to people. This person says, yes, just got back from a fancy Christmas event downtown. Got so many good looks and compliments from YT people. Exotical tax. Yeah, what happened to this talking point that the white man hates exoticals? You know, what happened to that talking point? I thought that like we were ugly and like nobody preferred us and like only dusty people like us. It's giving a coping mechanism. Meta Trinity says, I think Dusties get by. That is a thing. Dusties get by on their pretty privilege. Yeah. Like that one guy, the MLS guy, he was kind of like a caramel skin guy with dreads with the green eyes. he posted and he was like, "Oh, I need somewhere to stay." And then like over 1,000 women commented like, "Oh, you can stay with me." So yes, I think that's a thing. Men being dusties and getting by on their pretty privilege. I agree with your take on Shonda Rhimes TV shows. Yeah, a lot of the black TV shows that are geared towards black women, if you look at the premise of the show, it's created to fulfill kind of this femcel fantasy, basically. Like, the white man coming in and saving you, or um kind of this mixed guy licking a spoon, and then you're supposed to imagine him licking your spoon. It's like, that's not why I wanted to watch this show. Like, if you want to be soft porn, just say it. If that's what you're trying to turn TV into, just say it. Just admit that that's what this is, Shonda. This girl says, I read the entire Bridgerton series when I was a teenager, and I can't get through the show. The fetishizing was so bad that it makes me cringe. I get it, they're hot, but like I need more. I notice how Halle Bailey and the guy from Bridgerton, people were like projecting onto them. They're like, oh my God, they're gonna date. Oh my God, I wonder if she's gonna start dating him. Oh, DDG is gonna get so jealous because people fall in love on movie sets all the time. I'm like, why are you putting these two people together that don't even know each other? Not even from the same country. That man is probably not even straight. I'm just being honest. I don't think he's straight. Oh, another unpopular opinion. I don't think Aaron Pierre is straight either. So it's like these random MLS men, you're fetishizing them. Half of these guys are gay. But yeah, it's really cringe. Phoenix Subliminal says it's 4 a.m. and I'm about to go to the gym in an hour and a half. Currently having a soft, warm meal with milk. Any advice for gym in the morning? What do you eat? I'm an evening gym girly, so I fast. I do fasted workouts. And that is because my stomach feels better. Like my workout is a little bit better when I'm not trying to digest food. Because sometimes when I'm doing cardio and then I had a lot of coffee and stuff, it makes me have to go to the bathroom. Then I have to stop the workout. So I don't tend to do that. If I have a long workout, I will have some carbs. So like complex carbs. Usually it's sweet potato or yam. And then if I don't have time to cook in the morning, I might have like some leftover carbs from the night before. So like black eyed peas, beans are a carb. And then protein bars have carbs, even though they try to say like, oh, there's no carb. Okay, well, it feels like carbs in my body. So that is what I will have. The Resilient Alchemist says, I just followed you on TikTok. Yay! Follow me on TikTok at exoticals.united. I am Bella Rain says, I swear, if you show you're not shaken by their comments, they will stop and idolize you. I just lean into it. Don't correct them. Just be like, thank you, and say their name. Instant fan. Yeah, and some women are fans and they just won't admit it. It's like, bitch, you know you're a fan of my work. You are a fan of the exoticals. Chelsea says, I don't know how the black girl thought so low that she needed that. I don't think she's ugly, but damn, that white validation is scary. Yeah, the Danish deception girl. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's like, ma'am, do you not know what a narcissist is? So, like, anytime I see this sort of scenario where you got a woman falling for a narc, I immediately think, okay, her mother or father must be a narc. Somebody in her family, it's got to be normalized for them to be a narc. Because you don't just fall for that. And anybody with healthy parents, a healthy parent is not going to allow their daughter to continuously get scammed and stuff. Like, they would care more about their own child. I am Bella Rain says, I have a theory about them saying you don't belong. It's like they're offended that you're in a space when you're too good for it. I'm going to do a video over this. Yeah. Okay, I just had to drink some water really quick. Cata Lily Converter says, I became active on TikTok too. I was irritated that my videos were getting flagged, but the fact that I'm not alone in that challenge makes me feel better. Oh yeah, girl, I get flagged all the time. Well, on TikTok, I got flagged several times, but I'm just going to keep on posting. Well, I started using AI to generate, I mean, I use AI for this channel all the time, but I was using AI to create my TikToks to help it to not get flagged. So that's just a tip. You can use like Clap. It's a website that you can subscribe to, and they will edit your YouTube videos and turn them into shorts. Rosalind says, mogging. Mogging needs a snatched jawline. Who's mogging? Bella Rain says, this community has opened my eyes so much about looks. I really didn't know it was that serious. Now I know, and I'm using it to my advantage. Yeah, I didn't know it was that serious until I hit my 30s, to be honest, because when I was in my 20s, damn near everybody looked good. You know, all the girls in college looked good just in general. We're all young, we're all in shape. None of us have kids yet. It wasn't until I hit 30 that the cream of the crop started to rise to the top. I'm just going to be honest. And one of the pretty girls, she was asking me in the Patreon about aging. Like, how do I feel about aging? How come I'm not insecure or anything when it comes to my age? By the way, have you ever noticed that a lot of the Black female content creators are insecure about their age? You know how you can tell? It's because they never tell their age. That's how you know they're insecure. Because they don't want you to know their age, because then you can track how old they are. Um, But part of what I've noticed is that once you hit about 30 and above, if you still have a full head of hair, this goes for women and men. If you still have a full head of hair, nice body, it's almost like when you're young, you do what you want. When you're old, you do what you can. A lot of people say that. So the better you look and the older you are, the more your status actually goes up. Because a lot of people know that it's more difficult and more expensive, really, to maintain such a beautiful aesthetic into old age. So, yeah. This girl says, yes, the jawline. I always thought I had a naturally round face until I stopped overeating. Yeah, my face also turns into a circle when I become fat. NQUX says, I feel like boys are nicer to me than girls. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Rosaline says, being pretty is such a flex. And this ain't even my final form. Exactly. I 100% agree. I am always kind of experimenting. And a lot of people, they think that our channel is like vain or something. No, it's not supposed to be about vanity. I don't believe that beauty is a destination, because there's no such thing as perfect beauty. Beauty is a lifestyle. It's just a lifestyle. You know, like, okay, I want to change my hair color. I want to try to change up my aesthetic a little bit. It's not about competing. The negative side of other YouTubers' channels is that they make beauty into a competition. I don't view beauty as a competition, because I'm not like trying to compare myself to the next girl. I'm trying to see how this makeup looks on my face. I'm trying to be my own muse. That's how I like to use beauty. I also like to use it as a form of like dignity and self-care. So that's what I'm doing with my beauty. Pretty in Between says, white men love us. I never understood why they say that. Yeah, that was a coping mechanism, trying to say like white men don't like you. We know damn well that's a lie. Starlight says, oh, because for example, you post a bikini pic and they said, oh, I could never do that. That's embarrassing. Or they would give you unsolicited advice on what to wear. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. People trying to tell you what to do with your body. It's like, bitch, you are not me. You don't have my body. I know you wish you did, but you don't have it. Bella Rain says, it blows me how people know so much about these people's lives. Yeah, it's because they have no lives of their own. Mulatto rights activist says, good to see you going live against Exoticals United. Wait, what? I'm going live against someone, or someone's going live against me? I'm confused. But thank you. If that's a compliment, then thank you. I am Bella Rain says, I fast for my workouts unless it's going to be 2 workouts. I'll have a half a protein shake at the beginning and then the other half in between. Yeah, and it depends on my workout. Like if I'm doing weightlifting, which I hate, if I'm doing weightlifting, I will have carbs or protein before, because otherwise I'm going to be ravenous afterwards. Cardio doesn't overstimulate my hunger. Weightlifting, that's what overstimulates me. It's because I don't do a lot of weightlifting. Chelsea says, I remember that post from the MLS dude with the dreads. Over 1,000 women would let a man who could potentially rob or unalive them stay with them? Crazy. Yeah. Because they want to have those pretty babies. This person says, TikTok flags anything. I hate it. Yeah. This person says, "Girl, I love the way you're on these topics like white on rice. I was excited to hear your opinions on these situations as soon as I heard them." Yeah, and I'm still not done listening to the Danish deception thing because it's 4 hours long. So I was only able to get through 15 minutes today, and I was able to do an hour-long video. An hour-long video of several red flags that I saw within the first 15 minutes of her talking. That's why I said I'm concerned about her parents. Because all you have to do is listen to this girl talk about her man for 15 minutes and you can see all those red flags. So that's why I'm like, damn, it must suck that your family and friends don't even care about you. Mogging is an internet term. It's when an extremely attractive person is photographed alongside an average or below average person. Oh, shit. That is funny. I have never heard of that. I was today years old when I heard of mogging. I am Bella Rain says, "I don't see what the big deal is about age. People freak out about my age. It's like, relax." Yeah, I feel like a lot of women, it's because they don't really have pretty privilege. They just have youth. That's it. You're not pretty, you're just young. I mean, let's be honest. That's what a lot of these women feel about themselves. So that's why they're too scared to say their age. So, yeah. Cata Lily says, "That tip for TikTok is brilliant, EU." Thanks. Bella Rain says, "My thing is, why are they complaining about beauty when they don't participate? Just focus on something else." Exactly. Stay in your lane. Okay. Stay in the complaining on social media lane. Okay. Stay in the audience. Stay in the exotical lipstick alley pages where you belong. Stay in our comment sections where you belong. This girl says, "Racially ambiguous college student here. I recently grew out bangs. It's made me look much more ambiguous, and people are now always trying to guess what race." People heavily underestimate bangs in the Black community. Oh my God, one of the hairstyles that gets on my nerves is the China bang that they try to do in the Black community. I'm like, okay, China bangs are not for everybody's face shape, first of all. When you do a bang, it has to go with your face shape, your bone structure. The length of the bangs you do makes a difference. And yeah, I've just noticed in the Black community, they just know nothing about bangs. So congrats to you for being able to pull off bangs and look good. I love a good bang. I am the queen of doing all the different types of bangs. This girl says, "Tell it, EU, beauty is not a competition. And some people really act like it is." Yeah, it's a competition for male attention. It's a competition for validation in their eyes. It's a competition for like admiration. So yeah. Cousin Courtney says, "Hey, pretty girls." Hey, pretty girl club. Amy says, "Being scared of your beauty is so real as an introvert. I had a glow up during the pandemic in my late teens, losing weight and gaining a figure. And my face looks so much better after losing fat." Yeah, I feel like a lot of people's faces look better when it's not like overtaken by fat. Because, like, when your face is fat, it can make your eyes look smaller. It can make your lips look small. Like in my case, it makes my eyes look smaller, my lips look smaller, my nose look bigger, my cheeks look bigger when I have fat versus when I don't. This person says, "You're making me a little less insecure about aging. Male-centered talking points don't usually get to me, but the comments about your options when you when you age got to me." Yeah, and that's still a male-centered insult as well. "Oh, you don't have as many options." Bitch, do I look like I want to sleep with 1,000 men in one day? Do I look like I want to sleep with every guy? Like, what is this obsession with options that they have? Like, oh, well, I have options. You don't even know if that man is an option. You don't know if that man likes you. So it's like you could be under the illusion that you have all these options in your 20s, but you really don't, because otherwise you would be happily, doing whatever you want or married or whatever. So that's another BS talking point. It's a fake, it's like a fear tactic. It's a scarcity mindset. They're trying to get you with a scarcity mindset. You won't have any options because all the men are going to be dead by the time you're 50. If you're dating a man who's older than you and you're 60 and you only date 70-year-olds, how many 70-year-olds are still alive? So it's a scarcity mindset. And it's like, first of all, if that woman really does want to date or something like that, she only needs one boyfriend. If it's really that serious, if she's really that male-centered, She's only going to pick one guy anyway. So who cares? Even if he was the only option, he was the best option, right? So they're constantly moving the goalpost or moving the talking points depending on who they're trying to insult. This girl says, weightlifting makes me super hungry. Yeah, same. Sarah says, I'm half Egyptian and half white. People mistake me for being Armenian, Italian, and Lebanese. I recognize I have privileges from being mixed. Yeah, exactly. People from multiple groups, they see proximity to their own phenotype. So there's like more of a familiarity that people have with you. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Chelsea says, I don't understand women who are afraid of aging. It never seemed that hard to still look good older. Exactly. If you were already pretty, then why is it hard? You have the same face. All you have to do is maintain the same face that you have. If you really had a face card, turning 30 is not going to ruin it. Turning 40 is not going to ruin it. If you still have the same pretty face, the same pretty bone structure, the same pretty skin color, the same pretty hair texture and all that, then you're the same person. So that's how I know that those girls that make that talking point, they don't actually have pretty privilege. They just have youth. And also, who decides what's young and what's old anyway? Her and her parents are indeed concerning EU. Yeah, I feel like she has bad parents. And I don't even know any details yet. I'm just predicting that her parents are problematic just based on what they allowed her to go through or the amount of neglect. I just feel like the way that girl was acting and how desperate she was for companionship, it shows me that she was very emotionally neglected. That's a very common phenomenon in the Black community. It's emotional neglect. Emotionally neglectful parents. That's a very common phenomenon in the Black community. So it makes sense that this girl who's been emotionally neglected for 30 something years or 20 something years, that she is seeking this validation or she's addicted to this man who keeps messaging her. It's like, okay, how invisible do you have to be to the point where you fell in love over the phone? Yes, that's what she said. She said she fell in love over the phone within like a couple weeks. Okay, yeah, it's because you've been emotionally neglected for so long. That's what makes you so vulnerable to a narc, because narcs are love bombing. So emotionally neglected women, they're more susceptible to love bombers because she's never experienced normal, healthy love. She can't tell the difference between healthy love versus like love bombing. She's very gullible, just believes everything a person says. Or she doesn't believe what the person says, but she wants to. You know, she keeps gaslighting herself. She keeps like denying herself and lying to herself because she's been around other narcissists before, and that's a survival tactic. You know, that's a survival mechanism of having grown up around narcs. It's you gaslight yourself in order to stay safe. You know, you lie to yourself and convince yourself that this person has good intentions in order to keep yourself safe. Because it's too painful to admit that this person doesn't actually love you. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Chelsea says, weightlifting will make me pass out if I didn't eat carbs. Oh no. Well, I hope you get your carbs then. Rosaline says, so my thing is, I was asked about how I feel about getting older. Excited and still going to be looking like this and better. Exactly. And also, it's interesting how a lot of women in the Black community have this fear of aging. And it's like, okay, first of all, when I'm 55, I don't want to look like I'm 25. When I'm in my 50s and 60s, I don't want to look like a teenager. That's weird. Why would I want to look that young when I'm that old? Like, what are you trying to do? That's how I know it's a male-centered talking point, because what they're saying is, you know, I'm trying to look like the type of woman that this age range of men would be attracted to. Okay, so since you're that male-centered, why the fuck would you want to be 50 looking like you're 20 or 30? Unless you like, you know, do you like attracting 30-year-old men or something? Like, what's the point? I'm not obsessed with looking as young as possible. I just want to look good. As long as I look good, I'm fine. I don't have to look like a baby or anything. I don't feel like youth equals beauty. I mean, I've seen babies that are ugly and they're newborns. So youth, they're conflating youth with beauty. Chantel Giselle says, I had an unambiguous dark-skinned Black woman get mad at me for having 3-type hair and not allowing her to braid it. Why do they get so mad? She tried to fight me because I told her I don't wear braids. My hair is too soft. Same here. I don't wear braids either. I've never had braids in my life. Um, but yeah, it's like they literally get mad when they can't play in your hair like you're a Barbie doll. And that's another thing too. I've noticed when you have quote unquote good hair, people want to control how you wear it. They'll be like, well, why don't you wear braids? Well, why don't you straighten your hair? Well, why don't you do a silk press? Well, why don't you dye it blonde? People are always trying to tell you what to do with your hair because deep down inside, they wish they had your hair texture. That's what it is. Akishology says, if you ever see older men, you'll realize your options just grow the older you get. Oh, I 100% agree. My options, quote unquote, I mean, I really don't care that much about the options. This is a decentering men channel. But if I had to compare how I was treated in my 20s or my quote unquote options versus now, first of all, I'm smarter. So that's another thing that they discount. It's like, okay, first of all, you are smarter. So even if there's only one option and he's good, at least you're going to go with the one good option versus a negative option. But this girl says they start getting desperate for companionship and stop being picky. They'll go after anyone half decent. And that's another thing. They forget that men don't have any actual standards. All this shit that they talk about, oh, you're a 10, you're a 6, you're a 3, that's just on the internet. In real life, these men are jacking off to baby mamas because they watch porn. Okay. A lot of porn stars are baby mamas. They go to strip clubs with women who have babies. Okay. So they're paying the bills of baby mamas, or they have baby mamas, or they're sleeping with baby mamas in real life. So all this fake, these fake standards that they set, that's just on the internet. That's not even real. I still want to look as good as possible though. But yeah, the standards that they try to say, they don't even follow that themselves. Yaha in Hot Pink says, I love bangs, but only my 2 wigs have permanent bangs/fringe. Yeah, I love a good fringe. Akishology says, the way these older men fiend after my mother is honestly terrifying. Men don't care about your age if you still look good. Yeah. Amethyst says, this has happened with friends. One girl, I swear, even tried to cut my hair. Oh, yeah. A lot of people get so jealous that they will try to sabotage you. So I am not surprised about people wanting to cut your hair, putting stuff in your shampoo. Yeah, that kind of stuff has happened to me before too. No one's ever cut my hair, but when I was in high school, one girl, she did grab my hair and she put the scissors on it as if she was going to cut it, but she didn't actually cut it. I am Bella Rain says, I am 44. Don't believe them about everything falling apart. Just get control over your emotions so you won't get stressed. Exactly. Being male centered is stressful. So it's like, yeah, of course you would be worried about aging. You're aging every second that you're stressing about a man. I mean, I'd probably look like I was 90 years old too if I was as male centered as some of those women. Chelsea says, we're in a time where women can do so much to help them become more privileged, but they would rather hate on other women who mastered their privileges. Yeah, and with the Danish deception girl, I was thinking about her. I feel like she could have just maximized her own privilege because clearly she had money, she's in shape, she looks good. So it's like you had so much potential for what you could have been in life. You could have used that 500K in so many other ways, but instead you chose to spend it so you could have access to white dick. Chelsea says her parents are Nigerian. They need to answer for their BS in raising her. Yeah, because it sounds like they didn't raise her, which really ticks me off. Also, do Nigerians have arranged marriages and stuff? Because it's like, okay, if your Nigerian parents, they got married in 2 weeks or whatever. Okay, if you're that desperate of a pick me, then bitch, just go get an arranged marriage then. And I see that she tried to go on The Bachelor. She was on The Bachelor and everything. It's like, okay, so you have this much visibility. People are talking all this shit about options. What about this girl? She was a famous reality TV show star. She had hundreds of thousands of people watching her. I'm sure there were some guys that DM'd her and stuff and wanted to date her. So she bypasses all of those men so that she could go straight to this man who was a scammer. Do you see what I mean about people being idiots and bad social climbing? Cata Lily says, I'm going to look good till I die, just like these old actresses that still got it in their 80s and 90s. Yep. Aries says, it's crazy how people get mad when you won't let them touch your hair. Like, how are you offended? I don't want you touching my hair. Isn't it interesting how when you have 4C hair, girls, they'll have like 4C hair or like weaves and wigs, and then they don't want you to touch their hair. But then let's say you have type 3 hair and it's like natural or something, they can't touch your hair. And I genuinely feel like some women, they ask you why you don't wear certain hairstyles because they're just trying to figure out if your hair is real. That's really what it is. Like in my case, I know that a lot of women have done that to me. They're like, well, why don't you wear your hair like this? Well, why don't you wear it in space buns? Why don't you wear half up, half down? Why don't you wear it in a bun? Why don't you wear this? It's like, okay, you're just trying to figure out if my hair is real or not. Just admit that you want to figure out how I do my hair. Just admit that you admire my hairstyles and think they're beautiful, and you're trying to figure out what it is. Just give me my exotical tax. Chelsea says, obsessed with hair type, length, the hairstyles, it's annoying. Put that energy into making your hair look nice for you. Yeah, and some women, they hide their hair in braids 24/7 because they're ashamed of their shrunken, like, hair texture. And I didn't know until recently that even braids can damage your hair and rip it out. Like, once I found that out, I was like, oh no, this problem goes way deeper than what I thought. I thought braids were healthy. But apparently, even the braids are fucking these bitches up. Pretty in between says, oh wow, unambiguous women get so aggressive with us so easily. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Cata Lily says, thank you guys for all the sensible comments about what actually happens when you age. I thought they can't all be lying about doomsday. But I was naive. Yet again, they tell nothing but lies. Sarah says, men hit the wall in real life. You pretty much summed it up in one of your videos. Yeah, exactly. A lot of men, they can't even afford to get access to anything. First of all, let's talk about social media standards of beauty. Okay? A lot of the women that are on social media, a lot of those women are not natural. So they have extensions, they have makeup on, they have their nails done and all that. Okay, so that's not natural beauty. So men in general, they have hypocritical beauty standards. They don't actually follow what they say. If this man was good at follow through, he'd be rich right now. He wouldn't even be on the internet talking about some beauty standards. So most of them hit the wall in real life. You're always going to have more social status than what a lot of men have in the dating market anyway, if it's that serious. But yeah, that's how I know these women are extremely male-centered and obsessed. Bella says, I love how you highlight real life versus the internet. Yeah, a lot of people talk big shit on the internet. Pretty in between says, I had a roommate in basic training. They put Nair in her shampoo. It's ridiculous. Yeah, the same thing happened to me. Chelsea says, exactly. She acted like she was a poor, desperate 50-year-old. Yeah. Sarah says, the male talking points are just an echo chamber and a bit of self-projection. And for all these advice channels, they seem to have so much advice about men, but why do they never have any testimonials? Like, why are there never unambiguous women coming out and saying, hey, I followed so and so's YouTube channel and now I am happily a trad wife? Like, why don't we ever see that? And why don't they ever show pictures of these beloved, high value men? And then the couples that they look up to don't even meet their own standards and talking points, such as Nick and Olandria. Nick was cheating on Olandria. Well, I mean, he can't be cheating because he was never claiming her, but it's like Nick was over here looking at a non-black woman, enjoying his time with a non-black woman. If Nick would have been black, if that would have been a black man right there with a white woman, oh my God, the amount of times he'd be called Dusty would be insane. But because he's white, his whiteness covers a multitude of sins. I am Bella Rain says Patti LaBelle looks phenomenal and she's in her 80s. Also, Shaka Khan looks amazing. Yeah, so does like Tracy Ellis Ross as well. But I just think a lot of women, they have a femcel mindset. They have magical thinking. So that's what this woman had, the Danish deception girl. She had magical thinking around relationships. I mean, going on a show like The Bachelor and thinking that you're actually going to find true love and it's going to last for an entire lifetime, that in itself is magical thinking right there. Going on these love reality shows, I think that requires some form of magical thinking. Like, oh, I'm just going to go on this TV show and then I'm going to meet the love of my life and it's going to be happily ever after. I mean, that sounds like magical thinking right there. So I'm not surprised. Cata Lily says, how many celebrities have they dragged for being at the club or around women? But with him, it's okay. Yeah, remember Safari and Erica Mena? So people were dragging Safari, for being dusty and for like being around women at clubs and stuff. But notice how when it's Nick, they'll be like, oh, well, that's not cheating. So they're making all these excuses. So, like, is that all it takes? Is all he has to do is just not cheat on you, then suddenly he's a good man? The bar is in hell. So forget him treating you like a lady. Forget him trying to protect your image. Nick should be trying to protect Olandria, right? Part of protecting and providing is also protecting your woman's image, protecting her public image, protecting how society views her, or, protecting online, making sure that she's not having all this negative speculation about her relationship. But Nick wasn't doing that. He hasn't protected Olandria from shit. Oh, and by the way, with the whole N-word thing, where they said that Huda like said the N-word, I didn't see Nick coming out caping hard for Olandria. He didn't do shit. You know what he did do? He let Sierra come to their party. He is seen pictured in the club with a woman who looks more like Sierra than Olandria. So why is nobody clocking that tea? Akishology says, I honestly think what's damaging their hair is the reluctance to wash and moisturize regularly because of frizz. You can't put tension on your hair with styles, deprive it of moisture, and expect growth. Yeah, that's a really good point. Protective styles, I feel like they're, well, first of all, I don't really even believe in the concept of protective styles, but the hairstyles where your hair is braided up and all that, I feel like it can be good for length retention, but bad for moisture. So I agree. Your hair has to have a good balance of like the moisture and the protein. And they're really bad at that because they're so scared of wearing their natural hair in public. I've heard of women having to pause their lives because they don't want to show their 4C hair, or they rather go out in a silk bonnet because they like the texture of the bonnet more than the texture of their natural hair, which is actually kind of sad. And also, I've heard some women say, oh, well, I'm between hairstyles right now. What do you mean you're between hairstyles? So are you saying that your natural hair in a wash and go, that's not a hairstyle? So you're admitting you think your hair looks unkempt? Like, even if you listen to the language they use, and also if you look at the natural hair community, they're very obsessed with slick backs, slicking their hair, slicking their edges. Why? Well, because they don't like kinky edges. They don't like kinky edges. They don't like puffy edges. They don't like anything puffy about their hair. So they have to have the edge control. Why is it called edge control? Well, it's because they're implying that their own edges are out of control. They want their hair to be slick and sleek like a woman with type 3. Because type 1, 2, and 3 are the standard of beauty for them. Chantel says, yes, they think white men can do no wrong. If a dark-skinned black man was to do what Nick or this guy did, he would be considered a bum. Yeah, exactly. First of all, how are you going to try to tell me that you're wealthy and then you're asking me for money? Bitch, what? Like, as soon as that girl said that she bought the Chanel bag, and then instead of him purchasing it for her, he says, oh, did you get the Chanel bag? So it's like, ma'am, okay, clearly he doesn't have money. Clearly he's not wealthy like what he's trying to portray. There were so many red flags in that. Oh my gosh. Cata Lily says, why does he need to be at the club so badly right now when she has so much to lose? Exactly. Why is he so desperate to go to the club? Nick is so annoying. He's always outside. He's always in another woman's face. That's what I didn't like about him on Love Island. He's always in a bitch's face. Always outside. Always in the group chat. Never logs off the internet. He's everywhere except beside Olandria. He's always online, always posting himself, always posting, showing himself shirtless and all this shit. Now he's out in the club. He's just outside. He's an outside ass mofo. This person says, please tell me this live will be saved. Yeah, I'm going to keep it up. Chick says men think of protect as things that never happen, like burglars and bears. Yeah, exactly. And that's how I know that a lot of them are not emotionally intelligent, because when I talk about a man being a protector, like that's mainly what I'm talking about, is him protecting my emotional state, if that makes sense. Him protecting the emotional safety in the relationship. That's what I mean when I talk about a man being a protector. But most men, and especially Nick, they know nothing about that. So that's why I made that video a while back where I was like, most men are not protectors and providers, because they're not protecting your emotions. For example, any man who is constantly fangirling over other women or simping for other women, he's liking all their pics, he's DMing them online, he's following all these OnlyFans girls. That's not a protector, because he's not protecting the emotional safety within your relationship. He's not protecting the level of trust that you guys have with each other. He clearly doesn't give a fuck. So he's not a protector. Maybe I should make another video about that. Actually, I do have another decentering men style video coming out. This girl says, everyone I know who decided to give up forever braids and wigs look and feel so much better. Yeah, I agree. Cat Lily said, not you, said he's always outside and always online. Yes, this mofo is always outside. He's always on the internet. He's outside running marathons. He's outside at the club. He's outside with Sierra at his party. He's outside in the background of Sierra's Instagram stories. Always on TikTok, always on Instagram, always on Threads. And then he deleted his Threads because people were coming for him on there. So it's like, yeah, he's everywhere except being present in his relationship. Well, he's not even in a relationship with her. But have you ever been around somebody like that? I feel like a lot of women with inferiority complexes, they're used to emotionally unavailable men. That includes the girl who went through the Danish deception. She appears to have an emotionally unavailable father, for sure. Because, even though she was raised by two parents, she doesn't act like it. She doesn't act like she's had any healthy masculine around her, or like a man wanting to protect her, because normally a father would want to protect his daughter from scams. Don't even get me started on Nigerian scammer culture, by the way. Don't even get me started on that shit. So, Yaya says the 4-hour long video had all of the red flags from the very beginning. Yeah, in the first 5 minutes, I already saw like 50 red flags. First of all, I would have never taken that guy seriously in the first place. He didn't even buy just her a drink. He bought her and her friend a drink. So if a man were to buy me and my friend a drink, I don't take that seriously at all. I don't even drink, but it's like, okay, he could just be trying to talk to both of us, or he likes my friend. How did she even know that he liked her? There was nothing in there. There was no clue that this man left that said that he thought she was special. There was no behavior or action that showed that he was treating her special. Now, if he would have just bought her a drink, or maybe he bought her a drink and a meal, and then he asked her on a date. I mean, but he didn't do any of that. He didn't even ask for her phone number. So I'm like, ma'am, how are you thinking that this man is so in love with you? He likes you so much, and he didn't even ask for your number. Usually, if a guy's into you, he's probably going to want to have your contact information. He's probably going to want to talk to you. Cata Lily says, I thought me taking a few days to weeks to leave after red flags was bad. She really had 4 hours worth of red flags and stayed. Yeah. And then the guy stood her up in the bar, which nobody talks about. B Bunny says, I am so late. I'm going to have to watch the playback. Yeah. Welcome, B Bunny. Trey Bell says, as a Horn African, I don't understand the identity policing, mostly by unambiguous people. For example, the way the internet acted when Tyla said she's colored and not black. Any advice on how to deal with it? Yeah, other people don't get to determine your identity. Other people, they don't know your family members. They don't know your DNA results. They don't know your cultural or ethnic background. So you have the right to identify in a way that feels the most authentic to you. That's another reason why I like the exotical space. The whole point of this space was supposed to be uniting women across different racial lines and ethnicities. So, yeah. Brown Buddy, that's your name, Brown Buddy. Chelsea said, American Nigerian girl watching, and I agree about the scamming. Cata Lily says, meanwhile, I just checked Sierra's page and she is actually living it up. Exactly. Why is she living it up and Olandria's working 24/7 and Nick is just on the internet 24/7 and in every other girl's face 24/7? I am Bella Rain says, I think I might watch the Danish Deception. 4 hours long. 4 hours is long though. Yeah, I'm going to be watching it in segments and I'm going to make videos every day for as long as I can. You know, I'll try to make as many videos as I can. And just kind of like analyze from the very beginning so that we can learn from the social climbing mistakes of the same women who talk so much about leveling up. Looks like she got the same white man. You know how they say we got the same black man? This person says, the thing I like most about being an exotical is being able to fit into so many groups of people. I fit in with all groups except for most unambiguous black people. Not gonna lie, it's wild. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Do you guys feel like you fit in more with the black community, biracial community, non-black community? How do you ladies feel about that? Because I mean, that's why I say that we have fluid identities. It's because when you have ambiguity about you, different people are going to have different opinions on how you look anyway. Some people are going to say, oh, you're just black. Other people are going to say, oh, well, you're biracial. Or they're going to say, oh, you're quote unquote light skinned. So that's why I've never really been a fan of the identity policing. Also, I feel like coming up with a name or trying to force people to call themselves by a certain name, that's not the most important issue that I wanted to talk about here on YouTube. I had so much to say when I made this channel. That's why I never focused so much on identity policing. I just took a name that people called me. This is back when I used to show my face on my account. That was a name that people were calling me. And then I was like, okay, let me just take that name and then create something out of it. This person says, oh wait, I read that one. She said the same white man. Yeah, exactly. Yaha says, I cannot wait for your videos, EU. I'm keeping my opinions to myself about the Danish deception, minus what I posted in my short yesterday. Yeah, I'm still watching it and processing everything. Pretty in Between says, I fit in more with the Hispanic and Asian community. Yeah, everybody has like different communities that they fit in with the best. So that's why I always say go where you're celebrated. Isn't it interesting how you see YouTubers telling their audience to go where they're celebrated, but then they get mad when you go where you're celebrated? And I think they're mad because you're being celebrated, like maybe in a certain community, and they're not being celebrated by that same community. And also with the whole preference conversation, I just feel like that is so cringy and male centered. This obsession with who's the preference? Who do white men prefer? Who do Hispanic men prefer? Well, they like me better than you, so I have higher self-esteem now. I always thought that was like extremely cringy. But I have been on here. Oh my gosh, I hit 2 hours. I'm so excited. But yeah, it's been a while. But if there are any other comments, if there's anything else you want me to address, I'll give you guys about like 10 seconds to comment. Otherwise, if I don't see anything, be sure to follow me on TikTok at exoticals.united. And be sure to join the Patreon before I end up raising the prices. You can also join the members page as well. That's where I make like extra videos. So the members page is like extra videos. The Patreon is like extra audios. This person says, I can fit in everywhere, but my pretty privilege carries me. It's usually not an issue too much unless I start giving opinions. Oh yeah, that's why I have an anonymous channel. I love that this channel is anonymous because other creators, like Chrissy, for example, have used their anonymity as a weapon against the exotical space. So when I started this channel, I was like, well, I guess the only way I'd be able to really talk the same amount of shit, I guess I would have to be anonymous too. So that's the benefit. And that's why I tell you guys, you know, you can start an anonymous channel, just start a faceless channel, because then you get to have your regular life, you know, you get to have your privacy. You can have your real life where you don't really have to give opinions. And then you can come on here and talk shit. You can come on here and secretly talk shit. from your bedroom like what I'm doing right now. Akishology says, I found out senior year, everyone thought I was adopted and Asian. I always had Asian, white, and Latino friends, but the only black friends I had were foreign born. It's wild. Yeah. Are you from the US? This person says, will you be going live again soon? I'm going to try to because I can't keep up with all the videos, like with all the editing. I can't keep up with this. So I'm going to try to live stream every once in a while. What do you guys think of me live streaming though? Do you like when I live stream? Do you feel like the content quality is the same? Because the only reason that I had kind of stopped live streaming was because I felt like on the streams, I would jump from topic to topic. And I don't know if you guys like that because it's like, you might log on to the stream and then it gets derailed because I'm responding to comments and stuff. So the way that I do the streams usually is I kind of feed off of you guys' comments. So I might title the stream one thing, but we might end up talking about other things. So do you guys like that? If you do like it, then I'll try to schedule more streams. But it is going to have to be like pop-up streams because that's how I like it. So if you join the Discord, you'll know ahead of time when I'm going to stream. Like I'll message you guys in there. This person says, not me just now getting on the live. Yeah, we've been over here. I don't usually live stream, so it was just a random thing I decided to do today. Trey Bell says, like this random person kept trying to push me towards being West African and not being Horn African. I was so confused on why he kept going for no reason. Like I'm obviously Horn African. Yeah, a lot of people, they kind of will judge based on maybe your phenotype, like if they are stereotyping how you look. Like I don't know if that's you in your profile photo, you kind of have a shadow on your face in the photo. But yeah, they'll try to stereotype you based on how they perceive your phenotype. This person says, please go live again soon. Okay, well, I will try to do that. But I'm about to log off, you guys. I love you guys so much, and stay pretty, ladies.